Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials. Good morning, it's 7:30 on Saturday the 30th of October. Just making my way down to the land, and as always, not quite sure what we're going to get done today, but let's find out. Well, here we are down on the land. It's been a cold, wet and windy week this week, and more rain forecast this weekend. Winter's definitely arrived. There are no more mild temperatures in the morning, but it is what it is. Busy weekend for me on the domestic front. It's going to be a busy few weeks, and I might touch on that during the cabin chat, but the amount of time I'll be spending over the next few weekends down here on the land will be fairly minimal. I will of course keep an eye on the chickens and make sure that they're doing well. All the leaves are falling off the trees. Thankfully these fruit trees have managed to stave off the worst of the attacks of the various critters that just seem to love chewing them. So yeah, hopefully they'll see through. I'm stunned that this one managed to make it, because this has just been attacked to death. Anyway, I digress, as I often do. So let's get opened up. So sort the chickens out, get the kettle on, and have a little chat. Well, as usual, first things first, sort the chickens out, and as usual, little red one does get spoiled. I'm surprised because normally both the red ones are across here. It's the weekend, so I've got some greenery for them later, but hello, little red one. They do love it. Anyway, let me get sorted out, see what's in the coop, and get a coffee. Just take a quick look. What a mess in here. Look at that state of that. Let's get some lights on. Oh, 3 in there, and that's it for today. I did clear out on Thursday night on the way home from work, so I wasn't expecting a huge number, but I was, to be fair, expecting more than 3. But it is winter. Actually, food and water's okay. And to be fair, this bedding on the floor is okay. So, a little bit of tidying up to do on the outside of the nest boxes, but apart from that, not looking too bad. Well, good morning. It's the weekend. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you are staying safe and well, and hopefully you'll have a really great, enjoyable weekend. It's a tad cool this morning. I don't know if you can see the steam coming off the breath in the coffee cup. It's been cool all week actually, and we've had on and off rain pretty much all week, and some strong winds coming through, so yeah, it's setting the trend for what's to come, I think. I did see a few more videos around YouTube and some news articles, all of which are saying, I think I mentioned this a few months ago, they're all saying that they're expecting a colder and wilder winter this winter on the weather front. So just a reminder to have a look at whatever you've got in terms of home heating. Do you need some extra duvets and blankets? Do you need some extra winter cold weather clothing? Now's the time. Don't believe in it until the snow comes or the freezing temperatures come, and start looking then, because I suspect other people will have got there first. So get your hats ready, ladies and gents. I wanted to quickly recap on a couple of things that I have mentioned. I've mentioned quite a bit actually this year, and that's looking ahead a little bit to what we think might be coming in the end of winter, start of spring 2022 as we roll into next year. There's been lots and lots of talk over this last few months about rising prices, inflation going up, and it's worth just having a look at some of the stats. I've just jotted a few bits down here as a reminder. We had the the government budget this week here in the UK, and as always when governments present their forecasts and their budget for the following year, it's always worth looking at the small print, stuff that comes out either before the budget to get it out the way, bad news stories, so they can focus on some good news stories, or to look in the fine print of what's been announced, because what might seem like a good news story, a bit of a giveaway on one hand, actually might translate into a little sneaky takeaway with the other hand while everyone's not looking. So there were some good news announcements in terms of helping people on welfare payments, reductions in tax there, some forbearance on tax rises on things that normally do go up, so things like the additional taxes on fuel, and 3 pence off a pint of beer. Wow. That's 3 pence off the tax on beer. That's not 3% off the price of beer. Because as we know, prices are going up. So they talked about rates of inflation. Bank of England came out and said that you might remember their target as we came out of COVID last year was 2%. That was their official target. And then as we got halfway through the year, that snuck up to 2.5%. And that was when they were all talking about, this is transitory, it's short term, don't worry about it, it's a little blip after COVID and we'll get back to normal. Well, it turns out that actually as we hit the autumn period, August, September time, the official level of inflation was declared at being the highest in 9 years at 3.2%, with a forecast to sneak up to maybe 4% by the end of the year, and then maybe as we go through next year 5%. So where is this, don't worry guys, it's transitory, it'll all be over soon, where's that gone to? Because nobody's saying that now. They're kind of hinting at a rise, another rise into next year. And as always, these figures are complete nonsense. We all know, if we look at the price of our shopping, the price of what it costs to run the average household, we all know that prices have gone up. Indeed, I think it was just last week, I pulled up 2 receipts for my diesel, the fuel for my car, and showed you that in the space of 8 days, the price had gone up by 10%. So we all know it's nonsense, but the more they keep pumping these figures, there's a little saying about if you repeat something often enough, people will believe it. It becomes truth. And that's what they just keep doing. They just keep repeating the same nonsense over and over and over again. And gradually, people do believe it. People just park it in their mind and think, oh yeah, that's okay. I believe that. Things aren't as bad as some people might see it, namely me. So yeah, we're at a 9-year high for inflation, but allegedly it's only 3.2% and might sneak to 4 by the end of the year. So it's worth just having a little dig around on some stats just to disprove the myth. And I've got a few figures spread between people who view the channel. So here in the UK, where the bulk now of my subscribers are, the EU, because we are still friends, allegedly, and the US. So just a few topics here. Grocery bills, official figures these are, don't forget. US groceries allegedly have gone up by 4.5%, 2% in the EU, 1% in the UK. Seriously? Housing. Rents have gone up in the US by 3%, EU by 1%, UK by 2%. Again, not buying that. They can skew the figures a little bit because you might remember that landlords were banned from taking people to court if they weren't paying the rent. We had a load of people being paid for sitting at home during COVID. Mortgages, companies were allowing you to put off your payments. So landlords were able to take a bit of a rent holiday. So definite manipulation in that figure. New house sales, that's been talked about endlessly in the media. Companies, pension funds, even governments have been buying up houses and paying well over the market price, 10%, 20%, even 25% in some cases. So new house sales, yes, definitely gone up, and difficult to hide that by government because it's publicly available. The prices are there on websites of housing estate agencies. Consumer appliances, things like your washing machines, cookers, microwaves, fridges, those have gone up. Bear in mind these are government figures. By 7% in the US, 1% in the EU, 4% here in the UK. Vehicles, very interesting things gone on with vehicles, cars particularly, over the last year. Mainly due to chip shortages and factory close downs for COVID. So that market has been quite badly hit, the manufacturing of vehicles industry. New vehicle sales up by 8% in the US, 4% in the EU, 3% in the UK. But really bizarrely, used vehicle sales, we've seen something quite strange where you can buy a vehicle new and then go and look at the price of a 1-year-old car and find that it's actually higher. Used price cars and sales have gone up really quite significantly. In the US, these are official figures, used car prices went up by 24%, in the EU went up by 4%, and in the UK by 19%. Quite bizarre that you can sell your used car for more than a new one. Very strange. But again, there's been quite a lot of impact off COVID and the chip shortages in particular. The big ones, I guess, are around fuel for vehicles and home energy use. So fuel for vehicles in the US gone up by 42%, in the EU by 3.5%. That seems a bit strange to me, that that's so low. But in the UK by 48%. And I believe that totally because I've seen it and I've talked about it on my channel. So year on year, 48% rise in vehicle fuel, that's a massive amount. And when you bear in mind everybody uses vehicles, whether it's to take the kids to school, go shopping for groceries, or the big one, commuting to and from work, that's a big hit, big price rise. Home energy, gas and electric. So electric in the US has gone up by 5%, in the EU by 11%, and in the UK by 6%. And domestic gas for home heating and heating your water, US up by 20%, EU up by 17%, and UK by 12%. Bear in mind these are government figures. If you've watched the news or if you've looked at your energy bills, you'll know that they're an awfully lot higher than those figures. So some stats there, bit dry, bit boring, but they all go to emphasise the point, even though they are blatant lies by government. They are still massive price rises, even by government standards. So when you take a look at what's happening in the real world, everything is double-digit figures, everything. And some are really significant double-digit figures. What you really have to bear in mind is that inflation, it hits you after the event. So inflation it gradually rises. But you have to bear in mind that it's the cost of materials for the production process and the distribution process. They lag. So things will go up this year, but you might not necessarily feel the pain at the supermarket until the following year. It takes a while for it to filter through the manufacturing and the supply and distribution chain process before it hits the supermarket or the other shop shelves. So even though we are seeing quite a bit of pain, particularly fuel, because that is quicker than most to go through the supply chain and hit you at point of use. So even though we have seen quite a bit of pain, there is a lot more of that pain yet to come as it filters through into the actual marketplace and your purse or wallet, as you ultimately, as the end user, pay for those things. And we have already seen this, and I have already mentioned this in a couple of videos recently, where the big manufacturers and distributors have started to come out. I guess that they were expecting government to do this for them, rather than naming and shaming themselves in public. But government didn't, as you've seen. They're denying, they're still in denial about the real scale of the inflation problem. But big manufacturers, producers, supply chain, logistics companies have come out recently and said, look, do expect double-digit increases over the coming year. So whilst I do keep banging on the message of get stuff now while it's available and at today's prices, bear in mind this isn't going to stop. All of a sudden next year things aren't going to change. We're not going to see an end to this rising of inflation. And indeed, as I said just now, government has kind of hinted at this when they said, oh well, it's at record highest rates for 9 years, at 3.2%, might sneak to 4 by the end of the year, and maybe, just maybe, reach 5% as we go through next year. They're already telling you that increases aren't going to stop. They're going to keep continuing as we go through next year. So just please do bear that in mind. If they're saying 3.2% now, and we know that it's at least double digits, and they're hinting at 4-5% as we go through next year, what are those double digits going to look like next year? So please don't ignore this. I know that we've been through a lot over the last almost 2 years now with COVID. And we've seen a bit of a panic this year with supply chain, and it seems that it might have started to slowly go away. It isn't going away, it is still there. We're just having other things crop up in the news media that are kind of distracting from what we should really be looking at. Earlier on the year, the big thing was about Afghanistan. Now it's all about climate change. We've got that COP26 meeting this weekend here in the UK. Lots of governments not coming because they don't want to be put on the spot in the glare of the cameras to reveal the bad news that actually they're not going to do what other countries are doing in terms of this green initiative and making more use of green energy. They're realists. They understand that this massive agenda that we're going on with climate change, which has been used as an excuse for anything and everything that's bad for you as an individual, whether it's your availability to pay for things or whether it's your freedoms to eat meat or whatever it might be that they're trying to get rid of. There's lots of distraction. The real issues aren't Afghanistan or climate change or the volcano in Spain. The real issues are around the economic crash that is absolutely coming and the rise in inflation, which is going to massively hit your personal finances. You've got a double whammy there on the horizon. So please don't ignore that. Do try, as I said in my last video, I think it was, do try to do something now to make your financial position a bit more comfortable next year, because this isn't going to go away. I need to get this coffee down me. Anyway, enough of this. Some might call it doom and gloom. I would just call it reality, and I guess prompting people to just try and realise that stuff is coming down the line as we go into next year. And irrespective of COVID, though they are trying to still use that as an excuse for some things, that's not what we should be looking at. We should be looking at the potential next year for serious impact on your personal finances, and try and do something to prepare yourself for that right now, whether that's stocking up on things you might need to use, whether that's exploring alternatives to combat the rise in energy prices, or whether that's trying to ease back a little bit on unnecessary or luxury spending to try and have a little buffer of cash to see you through. I was toying with the idea of doing a video on ways in which you can improve your personal finances, whether that's change of job, additional job, things that you might want to take on as a second job, other sources of alternative income, selling chicken eggs. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Would that be something that's useful? I should caveat that by saying, and I've kind of hinted at this over the last couple of weeks, I do have an awful lot going on right now in my personal life, which is acting as a bit of a distraction from the YouTube channel. I am desperately trying to bang out content regularly every week. I had hoped to have done a little bit more, but really, I've said time is my biggest enemy, apart from people. And it is. I'm having a lot of draw on my time on the personal side of things lately, and that's not really going to ease up until the back end of the year, probably around Christmas time. So please do bear with me as I go through these next few weeks and perhaps couple of months. I will continue to try and put out the content at the same scale it is now, but if I miss the odd one here and there, then do forgive me for that. Anyway, what are you up to? Anything that you want to bang in the comments section to draw people's attention to? What do you think's coming? Am I talking complete nonsense? Let me know what you think in the comments section, and let us know what you're up to, just generally, in terms of your prepping or self-sufficiency journey as we head towards winter. Normally winter is a bit of a time for taking stock anyway and planning for the year ahead. So what are you planning? I know I have lots planned for particularly the garden side of things, but also on the personal side of things. So do keep an eye out over the next few videos as I perhaps dip into some of those topics. So, got the chickens to sort out, got a few bits to do in the polytunnel, a bit of watering to do. I don't know whether it's worth a run round. I'll probably do it anyway, just so you can see. I'm looking at the cabbages now. You remember I had a tomato forest going on? I'm starting to get a bit of a cabbage forest going on. They just seem to be going so high, and I don't know why they're doing that. They're just reaching for the sky. Anyway, whatever you're doing, wherever you are, stay safe and well. Make a point to enjoy your downtime this weekend away from that wicked world of work. And I'll catch up with you shortly. This will be a very quick run round because it's actually raining. I don't know if you can hear that on the roof or not. Everything's at a standstill. Apart from the strawberries, which is really bizarre. The sweet potato, I'm going to just leave these, and I think I might be tempted, maybe next weekend I might be tempted to pull these and just see what's in there. There's going to be nothing in this one for sure. You'll remember though, this was a bit of a late experiment just to see how you actually grew these things. A bit of a stray in there, I don't know what that is. I don't think it's a sweet potato. I'm going to leave it just in case it is one of these putting on a spurt of growth. But yeah, I just wanted to see how to grow them and now I know. So that'll be something I will be doing next year. I'll be starting off really early with the slips. These potatoes, I'm quite surprised because it's November next year. And these do seem, there's a bit of a nip there on this one. But they're hanging in there, which is really quite surprising. The cabbages are just going completely mental. These were supposed to be spring cabbage to sit in here for next year. But they seem to have just gone crackers. So I don't quite know what's going to happen with those. I'll be able to eat them because there's plenty of leaf growth on there. But again, we'll just leave them and see what happens. It's all an experiment. And if you don't do, you don't find out what works and what doesn't. Polytunnel, again, that's at a standstill. Those potatoes, I'm going to pull those probably next weekend because I don't think there's going to be anything in there, in all honesty. They got hammered by that really cold spell that we had. So I'm not expecting there to be anything in there. But you'll find out. Carrots, there is certainly a lot in there. I've got a bit of a glut of carrots. They're not going to come to any harm just sitting in there. So again, probably next weekend I'll pull some more of these. You can see them in there, look. Loads of them. So potatoes and carrots this year have been a real success. I've got loads still sat inside the cabin in boxes in storage. So that's one thing I'm definitely not going to be short of as we go through into winter. And I've learned a lot this year about when I can plant and how to try and get that continuous succession through the year, despite the best efforts of the weather, which you'll know this year has been really, really shocking. It's been completely unpredictable, unseasonable, call it what you will. It's been a bizarre growing year. Anyway, let me get inside and grab the greenery for the chickens. They are all still loitering. They see me moving around and they come to the door, look. Look at them. Yes, I'm coming. So let me get them sorted out with some greenery. You would think they'd never been fed, look. They're all going crazy. But as usual, look at this. I've got my little friend here. She's not stupid, she knows. She knows if she hangs around, she's going to get a personal feed. Am I too soft with them? Oh, Cockerel's wondering what I'm doing. He keeps an eye on me. What are you doing, young lady? Hmm? Look at him, he just can't resist, look. He's jealous of the attention that this one's getting. I've started something now. Watch my fingers. I could sit here for ages, but I'm not going to. Just cleaned out and I've got my first customer. You might have known it'd be the little red one, but everything's looking really nice and tidy. What are you up to, young lady? Get in there and get some eggs produced. No, you're not coming out. Well, that's it for another day. You can tell how gloomy it is because the light's still on the side of the cabin there. Look at that. I've got to do the polytunnel. That's twice now in my haste. Anyway, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, please do stay safe and well. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll catch up with you in the next video. Well, that's it for this video. I hope there was something in there that was of interest to you. If you did like the video, please do click on the like button. Also, feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always, I welcome any comments, questions or suggestions you might have. What do you think about inflation? Way, way bigger than governments or the media would have you believe. I'm sure you'll agree on that. And what about my point about it being slow to filter through? We haven't seen the end of this yet. If anything, it's just the beginning. So please do get yourselves organised now and get ready for even more price hikes as we go into the new year. What are you doing to hedge against inflation? Any tips or tricks or suggestions for us? If you have, then please do leave them in the comment section below and help everybody else out. But for now, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.